Disclaimer. The comments made in this video are intended solely for entertainment purposes and are not intended to harm or offend anyone.
Why should society grant leniency to those who've already proven they can't follow the rules? One criminal is pleading for a chance in drug court just to see his daughter.
And what are you planning on doing with the rest of your life?
I just need a steady balance. That's why I want to get into the felony drug court.
Do you have any children?
I do have a daughter.
And what's her age?
She just turned 10. I missed her birthday because of all this.
All right. Well, I mean, you missed her birthday for your own actions.
Right.
While another, caught red-handed trafficking drugs, blames her actions on a brain aneurysm.
So from reading the police report, it appears you knew you were transporting drugs.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I was.
We dive into 4 cases where criminals try and fail to manipulate the system. In this courtroom, the proceedings focus on the case of Christopher Miller, who is charged with drug-related offenses while already being on probation for a previous crime. The audacity here is wild.
Christopher Miller, court is calling 2024 CR 6101W. State of Texas versus Christopher James Miller. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Brittany Sparks for Christopher Miller.
All right. You entered a plea of no contest on May 16th. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
And have both parties had a chance to review the PSI?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargaining agreement, state recommends deferred adjudication. This is the run concurrent with 2020 CR 1185C. There's to be a drug court evaluation. If not accepted, then to follow the TAP recommendations. All right. Is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Judge. He is, although it says otherwise in his PSI, Your Honor, he is willing to do drug court. He did qualify. He was accepted, but they had to give his spot away, is my understanding, because the sentencing was too far out. I've asked probation if there is a spot available. They said not right now, but I think they have graduation coming up and maybe a spot will be open soon. That is what he would like to do if the court will allow him to.
Okay. All right. Anything from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Does anyone wish to speak to length of probation?
Your Honor, our agreement with the state was for 5 years. That is what my client accepted. So,
All right. That's outside the agreement.
oh, yes. I mean, as far as the length, I mean, that's what we would be asking for is for 5 years, but we understand that it's your decision.
Okay. It's the 2020 CR 1185C. All right. I see the nature of that offense. And what was the length of probation on that offense? Was it 4 years? All right. All right. The court is going to sentence you to 6 years deferred adjudication. Take in consideration NIGMAG number 746576. There's to be referral to felony drug court. He's to remain in custody until transfer to felony drug court. Counsel, if you reach out to felony drug court, you can see when they can accept him. If for some reason they don't have any room for him in the foreseeable future, just let the court know and the court will consider a different placement. But for now, he's to remain in custody until accepted into felony drug court. There's to be proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs. There's to be 200 hours of community service restitution. The court will not waive any of those hours. You're going to have to do those hours. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And it says in here that the guilt was minimized. Why is it saying that?
Miller, a repeat offender, has the nerve to minimize his guilt, plead for leniency, and make excuses for his actions, even attempting to use his daughter's missed birthday as a reason for sympathy.
In
the PSI, yes. It says that he minimized guilt.
Yes, Judge, there was the NIGMAG case was a possession charge. Mr. Miller and I have spoken at length because he had a difficult time accepting responsibility for the possession charge. We have spoken about him accepting the responsibility for this tampering with evidence. So I think since he has spoken to the judge, he has come to the realization of where we are with this case.
And what are you planning on doing with the rest of your life?
I mean, I work out there. I mean, I continue to have jobs, and I just need a steady balance. That's why I want to get into the felony drug court.
Do you have any children?
I do have a daughter.
And what's her age?
She just turned 10. I just missed her birthday because of all this.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. What?
I missed her birthday because of all this.
All right. Well, I mean, you missed her birthday for your own actions.
Right.
Full trust Judge Boyd was having none of it. She laid it out clearly, emphasizing that Miller's own poor choice choices led him here, and that he would stay in custody until a spot in the felony drug court opened. No sympathy, no bending the rules, just accountability.
All right, there's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. I'm going to order parenting classes. There's to be field visits 1 time per month until further notice, and probation if for some reason with regards to felony drug court, he's going to remain in custody until they accept him. So he's to remain there. If it's taking a long time, then probation, you can let me know, or his counsel can let me know, and then I'll decide to do something else. But he's not to be released until he's in felony drug court.
Okay, finish it.
All right. And probation, is there anything else he needs?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everyone, when we're on the record, when we're on the record, there's a sign. Do y'all see that sign? All right, thank you. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, and I hope those burns heal. What were you doing in the kitchen?
I was cooking
What were you cooking?
dinner.
I mean, what's the meal?
It was just oatmeal, honestly.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Bear County Jail, probably oatmeal.
I have a slight issue with that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the burns and infection and getting health care and seeing a doctor and going to do that. I mean, I've been waiting to go and waiting for this PSI and waiting to get into drug court for the last 30 days. I know you said I have to do it in custody.
Yes.
I mean, even with monitor or anything like that, because I'm trying to
Yeah.
go and
It's funny how Christopher Miller tried turning his kitchen mishap with oatmeal into a courtroom sob story, trying to paint his burns as some kind of tragic ordeal, as if they somehow justify leniency is crazy. Maybe next time, he should focus less on his cooking skills and more on fixing his life.
Because here's the thing. You have a drug problem. You have a major drug problem. The fact that you're on probation, the state made an offer with you. Even though you're on probation for another case, they made an offer for probation on this case.
yes, ma'am.
So people always want the sun, the moon, the stars. And then when they're at the very beginning, when they're looking at prison time, it's always like, I'll do anything.
Well, I mean, it was just because I was already, it just because of the sentencing wise, I was already accepted in the drug court. I missed it.
Yeah. I mean, I could send you to prison and they'll give you, I think they have better medical care at the prison if you want.
It's not what I want.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you.
Yes, ma'am.
From a guy who tried to minimize his guilt and complained about his plea deal, to another who couldn't even be bothered to follow the basics of probation, it's hard to believe they think they deserve second chances. Paul Vasquez Jr., who just can't manage to show up for probation meetings yet expects the court will overlook his blatant disregard for the law.
State of Texas versus Paul Vasquez Jr. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar from the state of Texas.
Defense?
Todd Coronado for Mr. Paul Vasquez.
Are you Mr. Paul Vasquez?
ma'am.
Did you review the document with your attorney entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Paul Vasquez Jr. who's placed on community supervision in 2022 CR 5352 for the offense of felon in possession of a firearm on August 25th, 2022 for a term of 2 years and extended for a total of 1 year? Is that you?
That is correct.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant, Paul Vasquez Jr., did then and there failed to report to the supervision officer as directed for the month of March 2024 in violation of conditions.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Your Honor, state waives all the violations.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, sentence you up to 2 years in the prison?
Yes.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, state.
All right. I'm not going to follow this agreement. His previous motion to revoke was also for a number 4. And now he's back again for the same thing, not reporting. It appears that he doesn't want to be on probation.
Judge Boyd was fed up. She called out Paul Vasquez for failing to meet even the simplest requirement, reporting to his probation officer. It's not like Vasquez is a teenager who doesn't understand the rules. He's a grown man who just can't be bothered to do the bare minimum.
I mean, he had a motion to revoke for a violation of condition number 4, not reporting. That's why he was extended for 1 year. And it was, the results of it was finding number 4 true, denying the motion, alternate amending conditions to include IOP, extend for 1 year, referral to felony drug court in custody, and the UA hotline until further notice. And again, he's not reporting. And he doesn't appear to, I may be wrong, but he doesn't appear to be a 17-year-old or 18-year-old. When the court says report, I think he knows to report. That's the minimum.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
On my behalf,
You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
so help me God.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Paul Vasquez Jr.
All right, what would you like to say?
On the probation, incident, I understand what I did fail on it and everything. On the community service, I've done community service, but it was under understanding of my probation officer and my mentor. I was doing community service, I meant to switch.
No. Here's the thing. I want you to focus on the not reporting,
On the-
because I require that people
Yes.
report. Are you saying if somebody at probation told you you didn't have to report, then that's a horse of a different color?
Right.
But if that's not what has happened, then we're back to your not reporting.
Right, that was my mistake.
To make things worse for himself, it's crazy how Paul Vasquez tried cooking up excuse after excuse, blaming girlfriend drama, family problems, and even his stepfather's health, just to justify not reporting to probation, as if any of that would somehow make him exempt from the basic requirements he agreed to. Judge Boyd saw through the nonsense.
I was doing good and everything, and then I'm not gonna lie to you, I had some issues with girlfriend problems and whatever, and I know that shouldn't be anywhere, doing. with-
We're always back to
Yes, but.
We're always back to Eve and the apple
Right.
thing.
And,
Okay.
and I understand, but in this incarceration, I finally was deceived by her and everything. Like she lied to me a lot, whatever. I know it's none of the,
I mean, I
it has a lot to
understand.
do with it, but then it don't. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I accept my faults and I learn from my mistakes. I'm 45 years old and I put myself in a Narcotics Anonymous while I'm in jail. I've gotten a certificate. I'm continuing my GED class while I'm incarcerated still. I'm doing something positive instead of negative when I'm.
All right, so here's my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why does it take for people to be locked up in custody for them to decide, you know what, I'm going to better my life, I'm going to get my GED, I'm going to do all these classes when you were given those chances before? I don't understand.
From my perspective, I was just blinded. Everything just was like blinded. I had a lot of family problems also. That last time I spoke with you,
Mhm.
my stepfather was going through diabetes and getting his leg, amputated, his toes and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I was going through a lot of issues on that part. Plus my girlfriend issues, so what can say.
What's your girlfriend, what?
My girlfriend, she issues, personal issues with my girlfriend, but I do accept my faults and I'm learning from my mistakes and whatnot. I'm trying my best, to I don't have a drug problem. I had no problem with, taking new age or whatever. I told that to my mentor and my probation officer, and I just wanted a better understanding on. I did have a bad drug problem when I was in my early 20s, 30s, and lost my mother. And I straightened up. I'm not here to cry to you. I'm not here to make you change your mind or anything. I understand my faults, and I'm just trying to change for my better.
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. And I want to let you know that I've internalized everything that you've said. And I understand that sometimes people fall off the beaten path and
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
trying to improve themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
But I mean, you still have plenty of time to be able to improve yourself, okay? All right, the court is going to find violation of condition number 4 true. The court is going to grant the motion, sentence you to 2 years in the prison, taking in consideration 759-661. I'll request the therapeutic community. It doesn't increase the time the time you're at the prison, but it will help you with any other issues you may have. I can't force them to place you in the therapeutic community because I have no jurisdiction over the prison system, but you can ask for it and you'll see if they'll put it in there. There's going to be credit for any time served, $1,000 fine, time and running to run concurrent.
What do you mean by that? by all means. So what did you mean by that?
By what?
A therapeutic.
Yeah. what does
Oh,
that
the
mean?
therapeutic community, it's to help you if you have any drug or alcohol issues. And
Oh, 'cause
it doesn't increase the time that you're in custody. It's just a program to help you maintain your sobriety and be on track for when you're released.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
But you'll still have to ask for it. I don't have any jurisdiction to force you into the program. You understand?
Yeah, that'd be a plus for me, right?
All right, awesome.
Um,
Did you
would I get
review?
my back time?
Should that be
Yes.
to the- yeah.
Did you review the trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
This is not a plea bargain agreement. You do have a limited right to appeal, and that right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you're on probation. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record.
Judge Boyd made it clear this wasn't just about punishment. It was about pushing Vasquez to face reality and take his rehabilitation seriously.
Here's the thing. When you go to the prison, I don't know, they may end up paroling you from the Bexar County Jail. I have no idea. I have no control over that. But whether you're released from the Bexar County Jail or whether you're released from prison, the first thing you need to do is find a sober house to live in, to find an AA or NA group and work on yourself. Because otherwise, what's going to end up happening is you're going to be right back here, maybe with another felony case, and then who knows what court you may end up in. They may end up offering you time. You may end up going to trial and being found guilty and doing some serious prison time. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, okay?
I plan to break the cycle.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Waive excuse.
Yes.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Oh, thank you. God bless you too.
Paul Vasquez's repeated disregard for probation conditions was enough to push Judge Boyd's patience to the limit. But even his careless attitude seems mild compared to the mess Heather Moore brought into the courtroom. From transporting large quantities of drugs to claiming she was clueless about it, her excuses were as erratic as her crimes. This reckless woman, Heather Moore, even after being caught transporting a large quantity of drugs, still went on to claim she had no idea what she was carrying. Now, playing clueless doesn't excuse her behavior, especially since she openly admitted later that she kind of figured what was in the package after she was pulled over.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 3486, State of Texas versus Heather Moore. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Paul J. Smith for the defense.
All right, and are you Miss Moore? All right, we're here. You entered a plea of no contest to count 2. The state waived count 2 without objection. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 6 years in the prison, and the state is opposed to your application for community supervision and for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes.
Defense?
We have, Your Honor.
State, any objections to the PSI report?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any objections to the PSI report?
No, Your Honor.
State, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Just my client, Your Honor, in brief summation.
All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record. All right, make sure you keep your voice up so that I can hear and the court reporter can hear. All right, defense?
Ms. Moore, you had entered a plea to this case and are asking this court for a form of community supervision. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Why should this court even consider community supervision for you?
I need medical treatment where I had a brain aneurysm last year. So I've been missing my appointments for my checkups. And this past week I had an incident in jail. They had to take me to the hospital.
And as if that wasn't enough, Moore tried to save herself by throwing out excuses about her medical conditions, hoping for sympathy, while barely acknowledging the severity of her crime.
How long ago did you have your aneurysm?
January 24, 23.
And as a result of that, has that required some substantial life changes for you?
Yeah, I can't see out of my right eye. And I have been going through physical therapy. I had to learn how to walk again, and lucky to be alive.
Have you decreased or substantially changed your pattern when it comes to mind-altering substances?
I have to stay clean because of my aneurysm, because I can rupture it and it can kill me.
Now, in your PSI, you indicated a willingness to perform any conditions the court required. Is that a true statement?
Yes, sir.
And one of the recommendations perhaps would be drug offender education program.
Yeah.
Are you willing to take urine tests weekly if the
Yes.
court ordered it?
Every day if I have.
And the amount of medical care required, where do you receive that and how do you receive that?
I get disability. They have me on disability.
And what, where do you go for your treatment or medical care?
The neurologist.
Neurologist?
Yeah.
Okay. And who is that?
Dr. Morton,
And where does he practice?
the Baptist, Methodist Hospital.
Now, as far as living arrangements, have you made appropriate arrangements with family?
Yes, sir.
And tell us briefly, are you married?
Yes, sir.
And who are you married to?
Culture Cares,
How long have you been married?
20 years.
And do you have a close relationship with any brothers or sisters and parents?
Yes, I do.
And where do they live?
Odessa, Texas.
In your pre-sentence report, you indicated that there were some places that you might ask the court to transfer you to.
Dallas, Texas, or Odessa.
And why is that?
My husband is in Dallas and my parents live in Odessa.
And if the court required you to live here, could you find appropriate?
Yes, I have address here.
Now, as far as any type of plans for the future, if you look, say, 2 or 3 years in the future, where do you see yourself being?
Going back to school.
And what kind of school you'll be back going to?
To finish my GED and hopefully try to learn to something in college, something, I don't know exactly what I could do, but something different.
What is your goal in life at this point?
Be a mom, take care of my kids.
And when was the last time you held them or touched them or saw them?
5 months ago.
And what's it like for you being in a prison or a cell?
It's difficult because with my aneurysm, I can't have stress. It's the headaches. And if I do, my blood pressure, I'm not really able to get the medical care I need to get.
And did that happen last week?
Yes, I was in the hospital last week. They took me.
Some might say that raising children is very stressful, more so than a jail cell. What are your opinions on that?
I mean, being in jail is way worse because I can't eat right. I can't, keep my blood pressure right.
Do you have blood sugar issues also?
No,
Any other issues that you're aware of?
well, not if I'm wearing.
And the medicine, do you know the regimen of prescriptions you're on for your blood pressure and
It
aneurysm?
starts with the I and one of them is nematol and then the other one is baby aspirin and the blood pressure is, I don't know. It starts with the I.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
And how would you get those medicines if the court were to grant you some sort of supervision?
With my disability, the insurance.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell this court that we haven't covered?
I just want to be able to get the medical care I need to finish my physical therapy.
Ask the witness.
State?
I only have a few questions. In your PSI, you mentioned that in regards to this offense, that we're doing something, you kind of figured out what it was, and you put your trust in someone. What did you mean by that?
Well, I thought that they were, my friend, I thought they were like family to me, but they turned out,
I'm sorry, they turned out what?
it turned out to be something that it wasn't.
Okay.
And as a result of this incident, did you attempt to rectify it with the police department?
Yes,
Did you attempt to help them?
Yeah.
And did you accept responsibility, acknowledge guilt in this case?
yes, I did.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, any other questions? All right, how old are your children?
She's 6, 12, 13, 16.
All right, and where were your children during this offense?
With my husband.
And that's the person you've been with for 20-something years?
To make matters worse, she stood there unapologetic while talking about her involvement in the drug trade, never fully owning up to her actions. Despite a history of probation failure, she still expected leniency without a trace of genuine remorse.
So from reading the police report, it appears you knew you were transporting drugs.
Yeah, I kind of figured that I was.
Well, I mean, what do you mean you kind of figured?
I knew I was, yes.
Okay, and it was transporting a lot of drugs. Why would you transport drugs?
I was doing a favor for a friend. I was taking something somewhere for somebody and I didn't know exactly. I kind of figured it was what it was, but I didn't think about it.
No, it says in the police report, and I don't know if you've had a chance to review the police report again, but in the police report, you get pulled over.
Yes, ma'am. I knew I was doing what I was doing.
All right, because it says here, I began speaking with S1, that's you, who still appeared very nervous. S1 began speaking to me about where she was headed. I temporarily muted my body cam because S1 began speaking about information, that should be confidential. And then they say that you actually admitted you were transporting drugs and that you knew you were transporting drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand when you say that you figured it out later.
Yeah, when I got pulled over, I kind of realized that it was something that,
So you're saying in the very beginning, you had no idea until you were pulled over?
I didn't think it was what it was that I was taking because it was wrapped up. It was like in a box and everything. So I didn't know.
So you're saying that you didn't know what you were possessing?
At first I didn't.
So when did you discover what you were possessing?
Whenever they pulled me over.
All right, state, any questions?
No, Judge.
Defense, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're saying you didn't know what it was. Do you want a jury trial? All right.
Just want to go ahead and get this over with so I can get on with my medical care.
All right, court will hear final argument. Defense?
Your Honor, as the court has perused the PSI, has gathered some information that indicates a client that has physical disabilities and opportunity to provide information to the officers. Also, she has admitted guilt, has had difficulties in this jail system with getting appropriate medical attention. And we respectfully ask the court to grant some sort of supervision.
State?
Judge, it's a very large amount of drugs, just from the PSI and just from the police report. They didn't knew what she was doing. Again, that's why the state was opposed to any applications. So that's why we're opposed.
All right. So Ms. Moore, I'm considering, of course, the facts of this case, and then sometimes our history follows us around, right? And your history, you've been on probation before and you were unsuccessful, you were revoked. And then this case, it's a lot of drugs.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay.
I'm older now. Back then I was young. I didn't have the resources then to do, but I know I can complete the probation.
All right. So here's my question though. Where was your husband in all of this?
At home.
So he had no idea that this was going on?
Yeah.
So he had no idea that you had a drug problem? Is that what you're telling me?
No, he knew I had a drug problem.
And he had no idea you were transporting
He didn't know
drugs?
how I was doing.
It's crazy how Heather Moore tried to convince Judge Boyd that her husband had no idea about her drug activities, despite their long marriage and his knowledge of her past drug issues. I mean, how can someone so close be completely unaware of such a major part of her life?
And has Child Protective Services been in your life
Yes, ma'am.
with your children? And so you're saying your children have been placed with your husband?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
They've always been with him.
So what did Child Protective Services do then?
They just left them, but they didn't ever come to my, they didn't ever do nothing.
Okay. All right. The court is going to find you guilty. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. I'll request the therapeutic medical unit. With that unit, you'll have to actually request it as well because I have no jurisdiction for them to place you in that unit. But that unit will help you with any drug issues you may have, any physical medical issues or mental health issues. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right, because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. When you're released from custody, you need to make sure that you get back on track, being clean and sober. You understand? If you have an issue where you can't find a place to help you with that, if I'm here, you can always come back to the court and I'll direct you to a place that can help you. Good luck to you.
This last case here is wild. Michael Williams stood in court, charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon despite a prior felony conviction, a crime that speaks volumes about his disregard for the law. It's honestly baffling how Williams had the nerve to say he shot the gun in the air just to check if it worked, and to make things worse, his excuse for carrying the weapon.
All right. And are you Michael Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You entered a plea of no contest on April 25th. There was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court ordered a PSI. According to the plea bargain agreement, there's no application for deferred adjudication. The state opposes your application for community supervision. Punishment is to be assessed at 3 years in the prison. It's run concurrent with County Court Cause number 689077, and they will take in consideration County Court Cause number 699697, and the offense is unlawfully carrying a weapon with a felony conviction. All right, have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
No,
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, Judge.
Defense?
yeah.
All right, state, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, I'd like to have the defendant speak, and I would like to speak on his behalf.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Michael Williams.
You're gonna have to speak up.
Michael Williams.
All right, defense?
Okay, Michael, you know that you weren't supposed to be carrying a gun because of a prior conviction.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what actually happened? You were on your way home from somewhere?
I was on my way home from my aunt's house and I ran into a female friend of mine. It was New Year.
Were you walking from your mother's house, or from your aunt's house?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you went into a friend, a lady, a woman?
Mm-hmm. And she asked me to check her firearm for her because she was getting ready to go. I guess she was going to go sell it.
She's going to what?
I guess she was going to go sell her firearm and she didn't know if it worked or not.
Okay.
So I checked it for her.
So was it loaded already?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you check it then?
He claimed he was just holding it for a friend. It's as if he thought these flimsy justifications would somehow make his actions acceptable. It's outrageous how Williams dared to carry a firearm, knowing full well it was illegal due to his prior felony conviction.
I shot it in the air.
You what?
I shot it.
Shot it in the air. Okay, and that was the basis for your arrest?
The base for my arrest was, okay, so she had to leave and go to her parents' home. I was going to take her firearm to the house for me and hold it for her. So the officer stopped me. Someone had called in the shot. The officer stopped me and told me he got a call and he got me with unlawful carry.
What do you mean, that the police had got a call about somebody firing a firearm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so he stopped you and you had the gun on you still?
Yes, sir.
From the lady that you had met?
Yes, sir.
Friend? Okay. All right, so you were going to hold it for her?
Yes, sir. Until she
Okay.
got
All
back
right.
to me.
All right. Yeah, I'd like you to consider this, and from the fact that there wasn't that much malice in his carrying this, it was something that he hadn't expected.
Oh, just 1 second. State, do you have any questions?
Let's see, okay. All right.
State, any questions?
Yes, sir. Is it true that you were on probation for burglary of a vehicle second from this fall?
Yes, sir.
And isn't it also true that you never reported the probation for that offense?
I had complications reporting. I did try to report, but I had problems with my phone and the Zoom.
Did you have to go in person?
No, sir. I did call and make an appointment, but I didn't make it.
No further from state.
All right. Any further questions, counsel?
And no further questions, I'd just like to speak on his behalf.
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to consider in the PSI where it shows that his upbringing was a problem. He had no help from his father. He was brought up by his aunt and his mother, but he had a lot of psychological problems and depression, and he only went through halfway through school, and then he was not very employable. So for the last 7 years, he'd been unemployed, and I think that idleness also set the scene for his drug addiction and alcohol. But he quit the alcohol in 2014, but he continued on some other drugs, and he hasn't had those in the last 6 months.
Williams did not even display any real remorse or acknowledgement of the gravity of his actions. Judge Boyd didn't hold back, making it clear that Williams' history of failing probation showed he wasn't capable of following the rules. Faced with the choice of prison or intensive treatment, but the judge ensured that his punishment came with strict conditions.
All right, just 1 second, counsel. Mr. Williams, I'm going to give you a choice. Here's your choice. I can give you probation, but you're going into inpatient treatment, or either I will sentence you to 2 years in prison. Now, they say that you have mental health issues and that they're recommending MIOF. MIOF is inpatient. Now, you can go to prison for 2 years, do your time, you're done, or either you can be on probation out of this court.
Recommend you go with probation.
Well, no, counsel, this is what I would always tell my clients. I'm not the person who's going to be doing probation. He will. And he knows better than I do, better than you, and better than anyone else, whether or not he can successfully complete probation. So far, what I've seen in his history, he cannot complete probation. But I understand that there are mental health issues going on, because in the possession case for his previous conviction, I saw that there was a transfer to MIOF, and then he ended up failing that and ended up going to prison. So you know yourself better than I do, better than your attorney does. Deputy Laura always tells everybody probation in this court is not easy. So your choice is, and there are only 2 choices. 1, I can send you to prison, or 2, you're going in inpatient treatment and you're going to MIOF. Either way, you're not going home today. So which do you choose?
I would say, due to my current addiction, I was on heroin. I would say I need an inpatient. I would like to take the probation.
Okay. All right. The court is going to sentence you to 3 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 8 years. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. The UA hotline. We can do a referral to felony drug court. That will be in custody. If he's not accepted in custody, I see here that they're recommending MIOF. That's what they have in there, that he's eligible for MIOF. So if not felony drug court, then MIOF. And then if MIOF is not going to, if felony drug court doesn't accept him and MIOF doesn't accept him, then we'll do SafeP. Proof of employment or SSI within 45 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Field visits 1 time per month until further notice. 200 hours of community service restitution. Do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
14, 13, and 11.
Are you in their life at all?
Not at this time.
That's either yes or no. Have you been an upstanding father in their life? Someone they can look up to?
I have. Not
How?
recently, but I have.
All right. There's going to be parenting classes. This to run concurrent with County Court Cause number 689077, taking consideration 699697. And then there will be the UA hotline. Counsel, the UA hotline until further notice. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need for me to be successful? I'm sorry?
No, ma'am.
All right. And so the MIOF, the felony drug court, and SafeP, that's to be done in custody.
John, I think he's going to need a lot of help with getting employment. He hasn't had any, and he has his psychological problems as well. So
When's the last time you had employment?
2008.
All right. So you haven't really been supporting your children. All right. And with regards to employment, there's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. If you are planning to be in your children's life and be someone they can be proud of, you're going to have to do better. If you're not going to be in their life on a permanent basis and just breeze in and breeze out, then you need not be around them. You understand? Showing you what's entitled trial court certification of defendants' rights to appeal. Did you sign that? Did you review that with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge Boyd didn't let Williams off easy because criminals like him need to understand that there are consequences for repeatedly breaking the law.